So we're starting off with multiplying, dividing rationals instead of adding or subtracting, because adding and subtraction is actually the harder thing. Because as you know, when you add or subtract fractions, you have to have a common denominator. So therefore, you have to find the least common denominator. So that is a lot harder than multiplying or dividing. So we're going to start off with the easier one. When Wednesday hits, we're going to do the adding and subtracting, which is a lot harder. So I just want to warn you of that. So let's talk about this. So I'm going to review how to do this with fractions. So with fractions, we realize, so say if I had 3/4 times 2/9. So we deal with this with fraction. We know that we do not need a lowest common denominator. So LCD is not needed when you're dealing with multiplication of fractions. So all you do, one of the things you can do is you just multiply across, right? You multiply the numerators together, you get 6. You multiply the denominators, you get 36. And then you simplify it. So then you top and bottom divided by 6, you get 1/6, right? So that's how we do with fractions. However, I'm going to write down the same problem right now. So when we deal with rationals, instead of multiplying across and simplifying, you're actually going to have to simplify first. So here, I'm going to practice simplifying first before we, am I recording this? Yes, I am. I'm going to simplify this first before we multiply. So what I do is, so you can write this all as one fraction if you want as well. If you want to write it as one fraction, that's 40, that's fine as well. Can you see that? There you go. So you can write it all as one fraction. You multiply the top and multiply the bottom. And just like what we did earlier, we can see if these are our factors, right? Factor, 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 factor. And then I ask myself, is there anything common on top and on bottom that I can cancel out? So the 2 and the 4 both have a 2 in common. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, 4 divided by 2 is 2. The 3 and the 9 have a 3 in common. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, 9 divided by 3 is 3. So as a result, 1 times 1 is 1 on top, 2 times 3 is 6 on bottom. Same exact answer as that. So as you can see here with fractions, you do not need a lowest common denominator, and all you do is you simplify it by canceling out common factors on top and bottom, and then you multiply across. So that being said, let's go ahead and do that with rationals. And sorry if I'm erasing it before you're able to take the notes, so feel free to, when I post this up later, you can take the notes that you might need. So I'm going to try doing number, like my pause. Let's go ahead and try doing number 15. So 15 here. Now we're multiplying rationals. So now it doesn't look as clean and simple as what we did earlier, but it's going to be the same idea. So that's a lovely thing about math. The rules are always the same. So right now, when I look at this, remember what we did earlier, where we can only cancel out common factors. So therefore, the key thing is you need to factor it before you simplify it. So before you do anything, you must factor everything so that we can simplify. So when we simplify, that's what we say cancel out, right? When we cancel out common factors, right? So we have to factor everything first. So every single part here, x minus 3, can I factor that? No, right? It's already factored. X squared plus 3x plus 2, can I factor that? I sure can. So let's go ahead and factor that. So again, if I didn't emphasize enough already how important factoring is, now you can see why it's always coming up. So here I factored this, x times x will give me x squared using Xbox method. Two things that are multiplied to give me 2 is 2 times 1 will give me 2. I exit. When I exit, I get x here and 2x here. It adds up to give me 3x. So winner, winner, chicken dinner. Those are my answers. So therefore, this is what happens when I Xbox it. So this here now becomes x plus 2 times x plus 1. So I'm going to erase this, and I'm going to put x plus 2 times x plus 1. So x plus 2 times x plus 1. Right. Can I factor this guy? I sure can. The GCF of this 2 is 4, right? So if I factor this guy, I get 4 on the outside. Inside is blank plus blank. So 4 times what will give me 4x? X. 4 times what will give me 8? 2. So when I factor that, that's what I get. So I'm just going to erase this, and I'm going to replace it with 4 times x plus 2. Right? Okay, and x minus 1, can I factor that? No, I can't. So right now I'm just going to circle all my factors just for me to make sure that I don't chop off factors, chopping off arms and legs and whatnot. So I'm going to circle this. Let me just bring this down real quick. Okay, so I'm going to factor that, factor this. I'm sorry, this is a factor, this is a factor, this is a factor, this is a factor, and this is a factor. So when I look at this now, since I'm multiplying, so I'm going to ask myself, well, now I'm going to cancel things or simplify by seeing what does the top have in common with the bottom. So looking at this here, what do we see has in common? X minus 3? No. 4? No. X plus 2? Yep. X plus 2 and x plus 2. So if I divide this x plus 2 divided by x plus 2, I just end up getting a 1, right? And that's it. That's the only thing that the top has in common with the bottom. So now that I've simplified, now I can multiply the top, because that's how you multiply fractions. You multiply the top together. So x minus 3 times 4. So I could write 4 times x minus 3. And I don't need to multiply through. I could just leave it as that. The bottom here is x plus 1 times x minus 1. So I could just leave it as that without having to multiply through. And that becomes my final answer. Alrighty, let me unmute you guys. Okay, any questions on what we've done? Pretty clear?
Pretty clear.
All right, let me have you guys try another problem. I want you guys to try in your breakout groups. I want you to go ahead and try number 16. And again, if you don't have the worksheet, I'll write out the problem here. So number 16 here, go ahead and copy down. You don't have the worksheet. 9x squared minus 25 divided by 2x squared plus 3x minus 14 multiplied by 5x minus 10 over 3x plus 5. Okay? So go ahead and try this problem on your own. And then in a second, I'm going to put you guys in breakout groups. All righty, welcome back, everybody. Can you guys all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. So I asked Felicity, I just went into the chat rooms, and I asked Felicity to share what she did. So Felicity, you're on.
Okay, okay. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing I did was right here, the numerator. I did the difference of 2 squares, so I did it right here. And when I did the difference of 2 squares, I got 3x minus 5 and 3x plus 5. So I put that right here.
Okay.
And then at the denominator, I factored it right here. So my factoring work is here. And then when I factored it, I got 2x plus 7 and x minus 2, which is right here. And now for the next one, I got the GCF of 5x minus 10. which is 5. So then when I take out the 5, I'm left with x minus 2. And at the bottom, I didn't factor it. I couldn't find anything or any way to factor it, so I left it as 3x plus 5. And then from then on, I just found what was they had in common to cancel out. So they had a 3x plus 5 and a 3x plus 5. I counted that and I got 1. And then I got x minus 2 and x minus 2, canceled that out and had 1. And then the leftovers that I had was the 5 from right here, and then 3x minus 5. And at the bottom, I got 2x plus 7 as my answer.
Swear.
Great, nice work, Felicita. Does anyone have any questions for what she did?
Yeah, I have a question for factoring out the bottom part. It's 2x squared plus 3x minus 14.
Yes.
I tried to figure that out, but like I was telling my group, I was confused because I know usually the way I do it is like this, like the number 14, whatever I guess the factors of it are, like 7 and 2 are supposed to equal out that middle term, but I don't know if that's like correct or not.
Yeah, so let me see. So can you see this right here? So
A little bit up. Oh, right there. Okay.
yeah, so this is what I did to factor. So to get 2x squared, you need to multiply 2x and an x, right?
Uh-huh.
And then, like you said, to make 14, I got 7 and 2, but I didn't know which one was going to stay negative, which one was going to stay positive yet.
Uh-huh.
So right here I have, when you cross cancel it, 2x times 2, I got 4x, which is here.
Oh, okay.
And then x plus 7, I got 7x. And then from then, I just asked myself, can I add or subtract these to get a positive 3x? And you can, so I put, it'll only work if the 4 is a negative.
Okay, I see what you did then.
Yeah. And
Right.
to make it a negative, I just put a negative 2 right here.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very good explanation and very good question.